Seoul slept beneath a slow-moving veil of mist, the kind that softens sound, blurs light, and makes the city feel like it's breathing. Down by the river, the moon reflected in thin, trembling ribbons, stretching across the quiet water. Street lamps flickered orange, their glow caught in drifting fog. Far away, faint laughter echoed from alleyways where the last of the Halloween revelers stumbled home. Capes fluttering, fake vampire teeth glinting under streetlight halos. But in one quiet corner of the city, there was music. Not loud, just a soft hum, weaving through the night like silk. It came from the basement studio of a group known as Huntrix. To the world, they were Seoul's rising K-pop stars. Mysterious, magnetic, always performing under the theme, Night's Protection. But their real secret was far older than fame. Huntrix didn't just sing. They hunted, not with weapons or words, but with harmony. Their music soothed what others feared to see. Lonely spirits, forgotten echoes, memories that refused to sleep. And on Halloween, when the veil between the living and the dreaming world thinned, their songs were needed most. Inside the studio, the air was warm and dim. Strings of pumpkin-shaped fairy lights hung unevenly across the mirrors, their soft glow catching faint reflections of movement. A few empty cups of coffee sat forgotten on the windowsill. The faint scent of cinnamon, melted wax, and fresh laundry mingled in the room. Rumi sat cross-legged on the wooden floor, tapping her fingers on her notebook. She wore an oversized hoodie with a faded bat pattern and a small lopsided headband of cat ears. A gift from their stylist. Her eyes were calm, though her mind was already miles ahead, listening to the subtle shift in energy that always came before something otherworldly. She tilted her head, listening. "Do you hear that?" Zoey, perched by the soundboard with her headphones around her neck, looked up. Her laptop screen glowed pale blue on her face. "Hear what?" Rumi frowned softly. "That hum. It's under the track." Zoey leaned closer, sliding one ear cup back onto her ear. She played the mix again. Their latest Halloween single, Moonveil. A slow, haunting melody filled the room, but beneath the reverb, faint as breath, there it was. A hum, low, shifting, like a second voice trying to join in. Zoey paused the track. "It's not from us. I muted all the backing layers." "Maybe it's the AC again," came a sleepy mumble from the couch. That was Mira, half wrapped in a blanket, her lavender hair falling into her eyes. She'd been dozing off while writing lyric notes. Derpy blinked once, stretched, then flopped dramatically back down with a sigh. Zoey smiled faintly. "Derpy's the only one allowed to sleep during rehearsal." The cat twitched one ear as if to agree. Rumi stood, walking to the center of the room. "No, listen. It's not mechanical, it's emotional." Her voice softened. "Someone's trying to harmonize." A sudden flutter cut through the quiet. The sound of wings. A black and white blur swooped down from the rafters, landing neatly on top of a speaker. Magpie had arrived. Equal parts trickster and guardian, tilted his head with pride. "Well, if you wanted creepy atmosphere, you nailed it. Halloween aesthetic level, 10 out of 10. Zoey threw him a mock glare. "Magpie, did you mess with the mic gain again?" He gasped dramatically, placing a wing over his chest. Then he grinned, feathers ruffling. Rumi rolled her eyes, but smiled. Let's take it from the chorus again. Maybe it's just feedback. They started the track once more. Huntrix's voices wove together, Rumi's smooth alto guiding the melody, Zoey's harmony threading beneath, and Mira's ethereal hum floating above like mist. But then it happened again. A faint echo, not immediate, slightly delayed, like an answer whispered back from a distant place. And this time, it wasn't random. The ghostly voice hit every note perfectly. The music faded slowly, but the hum remained. Then, for the briefest heartbeat, it turned into words. Thank you. Zoey froze. Did you hear that? Rumi's breath caught. Yeah. Magpie tilted his head, feathers shimmering. Well, that's not creepy at all. Mira sat up, her voice calm but distant. Didn't feel bad. Just lonely. Derpy blinked slowly. Softer this time, like he too had heard something unspoken. There was no wind, no power surge. No reason at all for sound to echo in a soundproof room. And yet, something beyond the wall had listened and wanted to join the song. Rumi took a step closer to the mirrors. The reflection rippled faintly, as if the glass itself had sighed. In that shimmer she thought she saw something. A silhouette, faint and flickering, standing just behind her reflection. A girl, maybe their age, wearing a hoodie with the same Huntrix logo they had on their tour merch. Eyes bright, but empty, like moonlight in water. Rumi blinked. The figure was gone. Zoey exhaled slowly. Okay, either we're really tired, or we've just picked up a ghost fan. Magpie gave a low whistle. The tension broke with quiet laughter, and for a moment, everything felt normal again. Rumi returned to the center of the room. Let's not panic. If it is a spirit, maybe it just wants to hear the song again. Mira nodded. Spirits follow emotion. If she liked our music before, she's probably drawn to it still. Derpy jumped off her lap and padded toward the keyboard, tail flicking. He pawed softly at one of the keys, the lowest note, and it rang out low and round. From somewhere, faint, distant, came the same note, echoed back perfectly. Mira's eyes softened. See, she's not haunting us. She's harmonizing. Zoey smiled faintly. A duet from beyond. Rumi chuckled under her breath. Guess we're performing for both worlds tonight. The city outside seemed to lean closer. Neon lights flickered slower, the hum of traffic fading into a hush. In that stillness, music became a bridge, a thread between heartbeats, weaving together what was lost and what was left. They played the chorus again, slower this time, softer. The ghostly voice followed, not as a copy, but as part of the harmony, weaving in and out like a sighing wind. Magpie fluttered near the lights, his wings catching the orange glow. Derpy curled beside the speaker, eyes half closed, purring in rhythm. And for a while, it felt peaceful. When the song ended, the hum faded. Just silence. Deep, still, complete. Zoey looked at the soundboard. No interference. No feedback loop. Nothing recorded on that channel. Rumi smiled faintly. Then it's not noise. Mira wrapped her blanket tighter around her shoulders. Maybe it's a thank you. Rumi nodded, gazing toward the mirror again. This time, nothing stirred. Only her own reflection staring back. But somewhere in the silence, she swore she felt warmth, like someone smiling from just beyond the glass. And so, under the quiet hum of city lights and the watchful glow of a Halloween moon, the hunters heard their first whisper, not of danger, but of longing. Outside, a slow wind passed through the streets. The last jack-o'-lanterns flickered faintly, their candlelight swaying like tiny souls dancing in the dark. Magpie yawned, fluffing his feathers. Well, that's enough haunting for one rehearsal. Derpy let out a soft, sleepy trill. Zoey shut down the mixer. Let's pick this up tomorrow. Same time. And maybe we'll find out who she was. Rumi gathered her notebook, closing it with quiet care. Tomorrow's All Saints' Day, she murmured. Maybe she'll find her rest. They turned off the lights, leaving only the glow of a single pumpkin lamp. Its carved smile flickering gently as the door clicked shut. And in that brief moment before darkness swallowed the studio completely, the mirrors shimmered once more. A faint outline appeared, a girl's silhouette, smiling through the reflection. Then she vanished, leaving behind only the softest whisper, "See you tomorrow." The next morning, mist still clung to the studio windows like soft lace. Seoul felt quieter after the strange night, like the whole city was catching its breath. Rumi sat cross-legged on the floor, a mug of honey tea between her palms, the faint steam curling toward the pumpkin lights that still hung from the ceiling. Zoey hunched over her laptop, replaying the recording from last night on a loop. "It's right there," she said softly, tapping the waveform. "That voice under ours. It hums in perfect fifths. No digital noise I've ever seen looks that clean." Mira knelt beside her, her eyes half closed, as if listening with her whole soul. "It doesn't feel cold or angry," she murmured. "It just feels lonely." Rumi set her mug down and leaned in. "Do you think it's really a spirit? Not just feedback from the monitors?" Magpie, perched on the curtain rod, ruffled his feathers. Derpy, who had been snoring softly on Zoe's lap, lifted his head and yawned. Then, as quickly as he'd stirred, he dozed off again. Zoe sighed, glancing at Rumi. "You know the last time I heard a sound like that? It was after our Starline showcase. Remember the girl who used to wait outside the studio every weekend? The one who said our songs helped her sleep after her mom passed?" Rumi's heart sank. "Hannah," she whispered. "She brought us cookies every rehearsal. She said she'd audition to be our lighting tech when she got older." Mira nodded slowly. "I remember her energy. She glowed when she smiled, like a lantern." There was a long silence, broken only by the faint whir of the ceiling fan. Rumi reached for her phone, scrolling through their old messages. One from Hannah's account sat unopened, dated nearly a year ago. "Happy Halloween on me. I heard your new song demo leaked online. I can't wait to hear it live. I'll be listening from the stars." Her throat tightened. "She sent this the night she..." Rumi stopped. The words dissolved into the quiet. Zoe turned the laptop toward her. "Then maybe that's who we heard." Maybe Hana's still listening, still humming along. Mira's eyes shimmered like misty violet. Spirits linger when love does. Maybe she just wants to finish the song. The room filled with a stillness that wasn't heavy, just tender. Like the pause between heartbeats. That evening, Huntrix gathered again, the city outside glowing in gentle orange light. Children in ghost costumes passed by below, their laughter rising up in echoes. Inside, the group worked in soft focus, Zoey adjusting reverb levels, Mira lighting a single candle on the mixing desk, and Rumi scribbling lyrics on a scrap of paper. "Maybe we should do something for her," Zoey said quietly. "A little concert. Nothing fancy. Just us. For Hana." Rumi looked up. "You mean play for her spirit?" "Not just her," Mira said. "For anyone listening from between worlds tonight. It's Halloween. The veil's thin. Music carries better across it." Magpie swooped down, landing on the piano keys with a discordant clang. "A rooftop concert then. Moonlight, pumpkins, spooky glamour." He flared his feathers dramatically. "I volunteer to host." Derpy stretched, blinking lazily. "Only if there's a blanket. And cocoa. Spirits like warm vibes, too." Rumi laughed softly, the first time she'd really smiled since morning. "All right," she said. "Rooftop concert it is." By nightfall, they'd transformed the roof into something magical. Fairy lights traced the railing like constellations. Pumpkins flickered with sleepy faces. The Seoul skyline shimmered beyond, half drowned in mist. Rumi tuned her mic. Testing. 1, 2. Her voice drifted warm through the speakers, blending with the hum of traffic below. Zoey adjusted a dial. "Let's keep the volume gentle. If she's really listening, she'll hear us fine." Mira placed a single white flower at the center of the setup, an offering of peace. The candlelight caught the curve of her cheek, softening her expression. She'll find her way. Light always knows its note. Magpie fluttered from pumpkin to pumpkin, chirping out mock announcements. "Ladies, ghosts, and gentle spectres," presenting Huntrix's exclusive Halloween harmony. "Moonveil reprise." While Derpy sat curled near the monitor cables, purring in rhythmic counterpoint. The first chords filled the air, low, soothing synths, and Rumi's breathy opening line. Her voice glowed against the night, in the hush between the stars. "I hear you hum the dark to rest." Zoey joined on harmony, her tone velvety and deep, while Mira layered a soft hum beneath, almost like wind in a cathedral. The sound seemed to rise from the rooftop itself, weaving through the fog. As they played, faint lights began to gather, not harsh, not ghostly, just soft glows drifting near the edge of the roof. Mira's gaze softened. "She's here," she whispered. "And she's not alone." Rumi's throat tightened, but she kept singing, each lyric trembling with warmth and longing. She could feel it, a presence humming back, the same gentle harmony from the recording. It wrapped around her voice like silk. For a moment, she saw her, a faint figure in the mist, smiling shyly, wearing a hoodie with their old logo. Hana. Her lips moved in perfect sync with Rumi's. The final note shimmered, then dissolved into the air. The mist thinned. The candles flickered once, then steadied. The rooftop fell silent except for Derpy's soft purr and Magpie's whisper. "She heard you. Rumi lowered her mic, eyes damp but peaceful. Maybe she just wanted to finish the song. Zoey exhaled slowly. Then we gave her that. Mira closed her eyes, feeling the last trace of warmth fade into the stars. Every goodbye hums a little forever. I think she's home now. The group stayed there a while, no one wanting to break the stillness. The city below buzzed with distant laughter, but up here the air was sacred. Rumi poured cocoa into mugs, handing them around as they wrapped in blankets. Magpie perched on the railing, gazing at the stars. "So," he said softly, "next Halloween, we're charging ghosts for VIP tickets, right?" Rumi chuckled, shaking her head. "Let's just call it the world's quietest encore." Derpy yawned so wide his tiny fangs glinted in the candlelight. Best audience ever." Nobody screamed. They all laughed, and in that laughter was something healing, the kind that stays long after the night fades. Above them, the moon drifted through thin clouds, glowing silver against the dark. And somewhere, just beyond the veil of sound, a faint hum lingered. One last echo of love carried on the wind. The rooftop glistened under a veil of mist. The city below shimmered like a field of tiny lanterns, every light flickering in rhythm with the soft wind that danced through Huntrix's rooftop stage. The hour was close to midnight, the moment when music carried furthest, when even the stars leaned in to listen. Rumi tightened her jacket and exhaled, a thin cloud of breath curling into the cool air. "Hard to believe this started as a spooky rehearsal," she said with a small laugh. "Now it feels like we're about to sing to the whole world." Zoey leaned against her keyboard stand, eyes glinting under the orange glow of a pumpkin lantern. "Maybe we are. Just not the world we can see." Mira sat cross-legged near the edge, hands folded around a thermos of cocoa. Her gaze seemed to rest somewhere far beyond the skyline. "The air feels different tonight," she murmured, "like the city's holding its breath." Magpie circled above them, leaving streaks of silver in the moonlight. "Perfect audience conditions," he chirped. "Mystical fog, check. Handsome bird, check. Ghostly acoustics, double check." Derpy was curled up on a soft blanket, half asleep already, his tail twitching with each distant sound. "If any ghosts show up, wake me after the encore," he mumbled. Rumi smiled. Though her heart trembled with a quiet ache, she could still feel Hana's presence from the night before. Gentle, grateful, but now there was something bigger stirring. A hum that seemed to thread through the rooftops, through the fog, through their instruments themselves. Zoey noticed it too. "You hear that?" she said softly. "Like static wrapped in melody." Mira nodded. "It's not just one voice tonight. There are hundreds." Her voice quivered, not with fear, but awe. "Old echoes, forgotten songs, they're all drifting toward us." Rumi stepped forward, her boots tapping lightly on the rooftop tiles. The view of Seoul stretched endlessly beneath her, skyscrapers like candles in a sea of shadows. "Then let's not keep them waiting." She turned to her bandmates and smiled. "Ready, Huntrix?" 3 heads nodded. Magpie saluted with a feathered wing. Even Derpy's tail flicked in sleepy approval. Zoe's fingers found the keyboard. A soft, pulsing note filled the night. Like the heartbeat of a dream, Mira began to hum, her voice ethereal, threading between the city sounds. Then Rumi sang the first words of Moon Veil, gentle, glowing. a whisper that carried like a lullaby over the edge of the world. Under silver skies we wander, chasing echoes through the dark. The melody flowed outward, smooth and haunting. The lights of the city seemed to dim, just slightly, as though the world itself wanted to listen more closely. And then it began, the response. Tiny flickers of blue and gold shimmered across the mist. Faint outlines of people formed, not frightening, but soft and translucent, like moonlight taking shape. There were dozens of them. Some held faint smiles. Some swayed gently to the rhythm. Some simply closed their eyes and listened. Mira's hands trembled as she felt their emotions. Longing, joy, peace. She let the sensations flow through her and into her harmony. Her voice wrapped around Rumi's like a silk ribbon. Zoey added a rising chord progression, a subtle build that made the air itself seem to shimmer. "It's working," she whispered. "They're responding to frequency. They're harmonizing with us." Rumi stepped closer to the microphone, eyes closed. "Then let's give them something worth remembering." She sang the chorus, her voice carrying warmth and light. "Every shadow finds its ending. Every silence hums your name." As her words echoed into the night, a radiant glow began to spread across the skyline. From distant windows, faint blue sparks flickered. Other rooftops shimmered faintly, as though more spirits were waking, joining the melody. Huntrix wasn't just performing a concert now. They were guiding a chorus of the unseen. The sound deepened, layered, alive. Mira felt the emotions rising. Not sadness, but release. Some of the spirits began to lift, dissolving into streaks of light that ascended into the night sky like fireflies. Each one left behind a whisper, fragments of laughter, fragments of song. The rooftop became a place of parting and peace. Zoey wiped her eyes discreetly. "It's beautiful," she whispered. "They're finally letting go." Rumi reached out, letting the moonlight touch her hand. She could feel Hannah's hum within the crowd, light and clear, woven into the harmony like the heart of the song itself. For a heartbeat, the hum became a voice. "Thank you." It was barely audible, but Rumi heard it as surely as her own pulse. A warmth filled her chest, and the fear she'd carried since that first night in the studio melted away. Magpie swooped low, coasting through a swirl of glowing dust. "Hey, if this is the afterlife, they've got good taste in music," he quipped, though his voice wavered with emotion. Derpy blinked open one eye, watching a few gentle sparks drift past his whiskers. "Warm," he said simply, and began to purr. As the final verse arrived, Zoey dropped the backing instruments until only Rumi's voice and Mira's hum remained. The world seemed to stand still. "If the night forgets your name, we will sing it back again." The last note lingered, a single pure tone that hung between heaven and earth. Then slowly, it faded into silence. The glow dissolved, the mist lifted. The rooftop returned to its quiet Halloween peace. Lanterns flickering, cocoa steaming softly, city lights twinkling below. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then Mira exhaled, eyes glassy but calm. "They're gone," she whispered. "All of them," peacefully. Zoey smiled faintly, closing her laptop. "Guess Huntrix just played the quietest sold-out concert in Seoul." Rumi sat down beside them, her voice soft. "We didn't chase demons tonight. We just helped them rest. Magpie hopped down onto her shoulder. Not all hunts need fire. Some need song. Derpy yawned and curled back up on his blanket. Can we hunt snacks now? Everyone laughed quietly, the kind of laugh that carried warmth through the chill. They stayed like that for a while, just watching the stars, listening to the faraway hum of a peaceful city. Somewhere in the distance, a single streetlight flickered in rhythm to their song. Or maybe, Rumi thought, it was Huntr saying goodbye. The moon began its slow descent toward the horizon, and the night softened into the delicate pre-dawn blue. Rumi leaned back, eyes half closed. "Happy Halloween, Huntr," she whispered. The wind stirred gently, brushing her hair like a thank you. And for a brief moment, she swore she could hear a voice carried on the breeze. A quiet, playful echo. Encore! En nay! Fairy lights flickered faintly along the railing, and the last pumpkin candle sighed out its smoke. The air smelled of rain, cocoa, and something sweeter. That delicate aftertaste of magic that lingers only when the world has been healed. Rumi lay back on her blanket, watching the clouds drift. The warmth from the rooftop tiles seeped through her jacket, making her eyelids heavy. Zoey sat beside her, tinkering quietly with her phone recorder, saving the final mix from their midnight concert. "It's strange," Zoey said softly. The recording caught everything. Our voices, the synths, even Magpie's core. But not the spirits. It's like they never wanted proof. Rumi smiled. Maybe the song wasn't meant for anyone else to hear. Mira leaned against the railing, her gaze soft and distant. "Or maybe that was the point," she murmured. "That we don't need to remember every miracle. Just feel it once and let it rest." Magpie fluttered down onto the table, landing next to the cocoa mugs. "A poetic end for a bird's favorite band," he said with mock pride. "Though next time I demand a solo." Derpy yawned, so wide it made his ears twitch. Magpie protested, fluffing his feathers. "Sugar feeds the soul." Their laughter rose softly into the fading night. Not loud, but warm. The kind that makes silence afterward feel comfortable. Zoey leaned her head on Rumi's shoulder, eyelids heavy. "We should probably pack up before sunrise," she murmured. Rumi nodded vaguely. "In a minute." But no one moved. The peace was too thick, too soft to disturb. Mira hummed faintly, the same tune they'd played for Huntr. This time it wasn't haunted or sad, just tender. The sound wrapped around them like a blanket. Even Magpie quieted, tilting his head as if to listen. Derpy's purr grew steady, syncing with Mira's melody, until both became one gentle rhythm. A lullaby for the city, for themselves, for the lingering magic that still shimmered unseen in the air. Rumi closed her eyes. The rooftop blurred away into soft sound. The faint rustle of feathers, the hush of the wind, and Mira's fading hum. "Happy Halloween, Huntrix," she whispered. Zoey smiled sleepily. "Best concert ever." Mira's reply was barely a whisper. "Until next year." The last pumpkin candle flickered once more, a heartbeat of orange light, and went out. Above them, dawn slipped quietly over Seoul, and Huntrix drifted into dreams, wrapped in warmth, starlight, and song.